Hey there, gamers. DeRosa here, coming at you with another battle report. Today's report is on the Two Fat Lardies game, Chain of Command. Remember, Paul and I have been playing the 29 Let's Go pint-sized campaign from Two Fat Lardies, and we were on the 5th scenario, so I'm going to go ahead and give you a battle report on what happened. Background. French civilians have identified a local German headquarters at Osmanville. The U.S. forces must take that position in order to burst through to Isgne and the final objective. For the Germans, this is the last ditch. As you can see on the map here, the Germans started to the left at the building, and the Americans started their patrol phase to the right, 6 inches off the table edge. One terrain note, the field at the top of the map is planted with Rommel's asparagus, rudimentary anti-airborne landing posts topped with teller mines. This area was not to be used by armor. Several drainage ditches are also shown, especially where the terrain slopes down towards the screen. Little side note, I had a little fun making those Rommel's asparagus, really cool. I don't know how much I'm going to be able to use them in the future for terrain, but it was good times. For the Germans in this scenario, they get a lot of support points. So I put down 2 minefields seen here on both sides of the roads of the greenhouse. I was going to hope to make it as a choke point so I could take out his tanks, which I got 1 tank in the end, but the other 2 were putting a lot of fire down on me. We'll get into the battle in a second. After the patrol phase, my jump-off points basically centered around that gray building. And so my defense centered on the orchard and that line along the orchard. The American jump-off point was centered in the greenhouse in the middle of the picture, and then his armor obviously came in down both sides of the roads. Another support option I had is I brought a mortar spotter and I put him in the field next to the gray building. And we made a rule mistake, and we said that these 2 tanks could hit him and kill him. Obviously, that was a big mistake for me. So then I was going to lay down fire onto this green building, which I was not able to do. And then Paul was able to bring his forces out of the green building and slowly move towards the orchard across this road. The Americans were slowly able to move up the flanks in force. They sent a force out down the stream. They had tanks covering the roads. He sent 1 tank up his left, my right. And this team here was just crossing the road and continuously pushing pressure into the orchard. So it forced me to just hold out and wait until I could get a good shot onto his troops. And then finally, once his troops got across the road into the orchard, I sprang my troops out and was able to lay down fire onto him. I laid down fire onto the troops into the stream from the gray building, and I did a lot of good damage there, actually, and held them up. He pushed his tank up the road, his left, and after a while, it got really close, and so I was able to spring my ambush with a chain of command dice with a Panzerschreck and jump out and blow up his tank on that flank. So I was able to, for a while, stymie his forces. The Germans in this gray building were taking a hammering from the tank before I was able to ambush it, so I decided to throw out some smoke. At this point, the tank had to move up and shoot at my troops. That's where I sprung my ambush and was able to pop out and blow up his tank. He sent his tanks around to the flank and was able to try to put more pressure on, which he did. As you see here, he's splitting his tank forces up after the destruction of his 1 Sherman. The Americans spent a lot of time trying to clear the minefield, which I don't think they were ever able to successfully do with their engineers. The Germans went on overwatch, basically just sitting on that wall, waiting for the Americans to try to force their way forward. So the game became just a bloody knockdown, drag-out fight. The Americans finally moved forward, and just the American might was able to put pressure onto the Germans and finally force them to withdraw. I had the luxury of not worrying about what's going to happen the next round, so I basically fought it out to the end, just trying to drag out every ounce of blood I could out of the Americans. it was a really fun game. In the end, the Americans won the scenario, the Pint Science Campaign 29 Let's Go. They're able to drive into France and defeat Germany, leading to the downfall of Hitler. All right, see you guys at the tables. Thanks for watching. Let us know what you think.